Hi guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and today we are going to be looking at videos of people leaving their children, like losing their children. I was watching Modern Family today, and one of the episodes, it was just so funny because they lost their children. So yeah, let's go ahead and have a look. Yeah guys, let's check this out. He goes to leave. Oh no. Oh no 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 no. Damn. You better hope that train didn't leave. That train. Oh no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no. No. Damn. If he was married, he's getting divorced very soon. Wow. Oh no. That would just suck. Oh, accidentally full screen. That would absolutely suck. Shut up, YouTube clip. Yeah.
Within 5 minutes, we were out in the woods looking for him. Totally lost. We combed the neighborhood alone, and we couldn't find him. Within 20 minutes, no, so we called the police.
It was a terrifying day for parents in North Tonawanda when two children,
I'm just gonna, because I'm not sure.
Into the woods, and that terror turned into immense relief when officers came back with the little girls. News 4's Ed Dran shows us video of the emotional reunion that you'll see only on 4.
Yeah, it was an emotional day indeed. Neighbors were standing in their front yards watching this all unfold. When we got there, everyone was hugging, shouting, "They've been found." Jennifer Cars ran to be reunited with her 3-year-old daughter, Anastasia, her bare feet slapping the sidewalk with each step.
I'm just so glad she's back with me.
Anastasia and her 3-year-old friend, Trent, had been playing in the backyard. All of a sudden, they vanished. Cars said she got some neighbors together to search for them. With no luck, that's when they called police.
My husband called me when I was out searching, and he says they found her, they're on their way here, and that's all I know.
Anastasia told me exactly what happened.
I was at Trent's house in the woods.
You were in the woods?
Yes.
And what were you doing in the woods, sweetheart?
On the way back home.
Trying to find your way back home?
Yes.
Were you scared?
Yes.
The search for these curious kids lasted about an hour. They started off wandering this trail looking for mice. They wandered a little too far. About a mile away from home, police say when they were found, they were crying.
You can't imagine what runs through your head.
Yeah, that's a little scary. And sad. Like, I don't know if this is the common thing nowadays, but lately I've just been seeing a lot of people lose their children. Ugh, that is not how I spell that. And I'm gonna have to press back, go back into search. Dad lost child in shop. Oh God.
Daddy, I'm thirsty.
Okay.
Where is Dad? Let's go look for him.
Really?
Our dad must be there.
Yeah, okay, that wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, no, straight up. Top 10 lost children stories. So guys, I just got the idea to do this video of Modern Family. What?
Factsverse presents Children Who Were Lost for Years, Then Found. Number 1, Gregory Jean Jr. Gregory Jean Jr. lived with his father and his stepmother.
Dang.
When he was 9 years old, they pulled him out of school, telling his teacher that he was going to be homeschooled instead. For the next 4 years, his father and stepmother held him captive in their home. His mother was a Haitian immigrant and didn't know
I've just put the earplugs back in.
System or how to report someone missing. She contacted Child Protective Services, but she never called the police. Since a police report was never filed, no one knew the boy was missing. After 4 years in captivity, Gregory was able to rig up a cell phone so he could send his mother a friend request on Facebook. When the
Damn,
police
smart.
arrived at the home, there was no sign of Gregory. He sent his mother directions to his location, and when the police visited the home a second time, they found him hidden behind a false wall. He's lucky that his mother never gave up on him. Number 2, Amina Ali Darsha Nakeki. A few years ago, the Boko Haram stormed into an all-girls school and kidnapped hundreds of girls. One of these girls was Amina Ali Darsha Nakeki. The kidnapping made headlines all around the world. When time went on, the girls were not found.
You can probably hear
The police
background
around the
noise,
world
guys.
became angry.
Yeah,
2
making the video.
years after the girls had been
Just pull them out because I don't think you can actually hear it.
A local vigilante group decided to do something about it. When they thought they had an idea of where some of the girls were, they brought Amina's mother and went to the door. As soon as the door opened and her mother saw her face, she hugged the group's leader. It took her 2 years to see her daughter again, and she was so happy to have her back. Number 3, Stephen Stainer. Stephen Stainer was kidnapped by a known pedophile when he was 7 years old. After he was in captivity for 8 years, his captor abducted a younger boy. This is what Stephen needed to attempt to escape. The 2 boys hitchhiked for over 40 miles before they found a police officer who helps to reunite boys with their families. Sadly, Stephen only had 9 more years with his family. When he was 24 years old, he died in a motorcycle accident. Number 4, JC Dugard. When JC Dugard was just 11 years old, she was walking her bike down the road when a car pulled up on the side of her. Philip and Nancy Garrido got out of the car and shocked her with a stun gun. For the next 18 years, they held her hostage in their backyard. She was living in a shed and under tarps the entire time. When she was finally rescued, the police were shocked at how close to home she was the whole time. Both Philip and Nancy were arrested, and they will never get out of prison. Today, JC is using her story to help inspire others. She's even written 2 books about her ordeal and her journey to living a normal life again. Number 5,
I don't think
Tanya Kack.
after that, correct?
When Tanya Kack was 13 years old, she didn't have an easy life. She lived with her father and his girlfriend, and it wasn't the greatest situation for a young girl. There was a 37-year-old security guard at school who Tanya became friendly with. When she told him about her home life, he encouraged her to run away from home. When she finally agreed, she wished she hadn't. The security guard held her captive in his room at his parents' house for 10 years. Eventually, he started trusting Tanya more and letting her go out. While she was supposed to be running an errand, she told a shopkeeper who she was and that she was kidnapped and needed help from the police. Finally, she was reunited with her family. Number 6, Sean Hornbeck. Sean Hornbeck's story is unlike many other kids' stories. He was riding his bike down a gravel road near his home in Missouri. Rather than keeping Sean locked away and hidden, he used fear and abuse to control him, while letting him out in public the entire time. Sean was held captive for 4 years. When his captor brought home another boy, Sean knew he had to get away. 4 days after the new boy arrived, they were found and rescued. Number 7, Carlina White. When Carlina White was just 19 days old, she was kidnapped from a Harlem hospital by a nurse.
What?
Carlina grew up thinking this woman was her mother and that her name was actually Nettie Nance. She never learned the truth about her abduction when she was 23. When she was online looking at photos of missing children, she saw one that looked so much like her that it could be her daughter. In reality, the photo was her baby picture. When the truth came out about who she really was, a DNA test proved that the woman she thought was her mother all her life had kidnapped her. Just a few years ago, a Lifetime movie was made about this ordeal. According to Carlina, it's difficult to look at the woman who raised her as a criminal. Regardless of how Carlina felt, her abductor was arrested and convicted of kidnapping. Number 8, Steve Carter. When Steve Carter saw the story of Carlina White all over the news, he became curious. He'd always thought that something in his life was off. After hearing Carlina's story, he went on a website for missing children and he saw a photo of himself. It turned out that his mother kidnapped him when he was very young, and she changed his name. It was originally Marks Panama Barnes, but to keep him hidden from the world, she had to change his name. When he found out the truth about who he was, he also found out that his father had been searching for him for 30 years. At the same time he was reuniting with his father, his mother was being arrested for kidnapping. Number 9, Natasha Ryan. Natasha disappeared from her home in Australia when she was just 14 years old. 4 years later, she reappeared. A man was on trial for her murder. After the police received a tip, it led them to the home of her boyfriend where she was living. The man was 8 years older than Natasha. They were married and they had a son together. The only reason that Natasha willingly came out of hiding was to keep an innocent man from going to jail. Number 10, Julian Hernandez. Julian Hernandez was kidnapped by his father when his parents were going through a nasty divorce and a custody fight. He was only 5 years old when he was kidnapped. Therefore, during his entire childhood, he had no idea he had been abducted. When he was 18 years old, he was applying for college. It was then that he realized the Social Security number that his father gave him was a fake. He later found out that his mother had been searching for him for 13 years. Number 11, Chow Yun. This is one story where the child in question was not taken from home against her will. The girl actually chose to leave home. Chow Yun is a Chinese girl who was only 14 years old. She got into a fight with her parents and she ran away from home. For the next 10 years, she was living and playing games in internet cafes all over the country. When she was 24 years old, she was discovered by someone who had seen her photo on a website for missing children. Her story is so unbelievable because for 10 years, she lived on her own and nobody knew the truth. Number 12, Connie McAllister. When Connie McAllister was 16 years old, she was living in Wisconsin and she was dating a boy named Freddie Ruiz. He talked her into sneaking out of the house and meeting him in Chicago. When she got there, Freddie drugged her and drove her to Mexico. For the next 9 years, she was trapped in Mexico with Freddie and had to endure his abuse. When she met another man, she thought that things would get better. Unfortunately, things with him were not any better. When Connie was working at Walmart, she met an American missionary and Connie told her what had happened to her. This missionary helped her find her way home, and today, she is home and happily married. Number 13, the girls from Cleveland. Of all the children who were lost for years and found, this case is one of the most highly publicized. Between 2003 and 2013, a man named Ariel Castro kidnapped Michelle Knight, Amanda Berry, and Gina DeJesus by tricking each girl to get into his car. He held them hostage in his home. He beat and raped the girls regularly. During this time, he got Amanda pregnant, and she gave birth to a daughter. One day, Castro was going for a ride with his brothers and forgot to lock the doors. It was Amanda's chance to escape. She couldn't get the door open completely, and a good Samaritan came along and helped her and her daughter to squeeze out the door. She went to a neighbor's house, hysterical, begging to use the phone. When the police came, they found Amanda and her daughter, who then told her about Michelle and Gina in the house next door. Castro pled guilty to a whole slew of charges. Soon after his incarceration, he took his own life. Today, the girls are trying to rebuild their own lives. Subscribe for more.
Yeah. No thanks. Video's been going for a while, guys. Might end it here, and probably will do it another video tomorrow. Not 100% sure. Yeah, we might do one more missing child thing. Yeah, one little one, I think. Abducted one. Yeah, we're not doing that one because I don't want to get demonetized, even though I have no ads yet. Just don't really feel like...
Despite all of our modern technology, it's still possible to become hopelessly and completely lost almost anywhere. And when that happens, the odds of you getting found are beyond your control and almost undoubtedly stacked against you. Number 10. When police pull over this van, they find two suspects and one innocent woman inside who is bound by metal.
Tight chain down by the neck.
The panic-stricken survivor tells police about her ex-boyfriend and his new boyfriend, Samuel Brown, who pulled her out of her Las Vegas apartment, kicking and screaming, and stuffed her inside of the vehicle.
He dragged me out of the place and I fought so hard because I was like, this is how you die.
Jack Morgan and Samuel Brown eventually confess that they've been planning this abduction for over a year. Though the details were never made public, still the rescued woman has no doubt that they would have taken her life had the police not intervened. And judging from how unhinged her ex-boyfriend was acting in the back of the police car, she was probably right. Number 9. 6 hours after a 2-year-old girl named Camilla Vicks was reported missing by her mother, It's over 100 degrees outside and police are combing the blistering hot forest in Savannah, Georgia for any remaining traces of the small girl's whereabouts. The wooded area is covered in dense greenery, and it's difficult to make out anything in front of them. It is starting to look like all hope is lost, but there is still plenty of daylight, so they march on in a long row. The search team continues, calling out to the child for quite some time, encountering tons of snakes and spiders all the while, when they finally get a loud and healthy response.
Where is she? Where is she? The child has been located.
God.
Leaning against the tree is the dehydrated 2-year-old, tired and hungry but still alive. She had been missing since the evening of the day before, but her disappearance was not reported until the next morning. Exactly what happened before Camilla went missing is unclear. The mother has not been charged because she was in what police called a crisis situation when she lost track of her child. If someone could fill me in on what exactly that legal term means, I would greatly appreciate it. Number 8. This dramatic rescue footage was taken during the final hours of a 50-man search mission in the English village of Brancaster, Norfolk. Peter Pugg is a 75-year-old author who somehow has become separated from his group while walking along a beach at 5 o'clock in the evening. Eventually, he accidentally wandered into a dense swamp at night and becomes more lost than ever before. It kind of looks like he is hiding from the rescue team, but the poor exhausted man is actually trapped in sharp reeds that have latched onto his clothing and skin. The ground gave way from under him, and he has remained stuck in this uncomfortable position for the entire night, well into the next day. It even looks like he is clutching at reeds to keep from sinking any further. A full 22 hours pass before he is finally airlifted to safety. If not for the efforts of this police drone, all 50 rescuers could have easily passed over him numerous times. They most likely would have found his remains weeks or even years later without this aerial view. Number 7. A YouTuber named Steve Ronan is excited to explore the Ape Cave in Washington with his friends. They are laughing and having a laid-back adventure for most of the video, until they find a tiny wall opening that is almost too tight for any of them to fit into. After squeezing their way down a cramped tunnel, they find something completely unexpected on the other side.
English? You speak English? No English. No? Oh, okay. Okay, come with us.
A frightened girl without a flashlight has somehow become lost and missing in the deep underground caverns. The group of friends eventually help bring her through the maze of tunnels and reunite her with her caretakers. It's a happy ending, but I can't help but imagine what would have happened if she wasn't accidentally rescued. It looks like she was petrified with fear and not going anywhere on her own. With that said, it definitely would have been hard, if not impossible, to locate her in the
video. Yeah, I think I am gonna just end it here. Bye. Scuffed, but who cares?